Hey everyone, and welcome to the next installment for a design team video. And I've got this cute little photo of my eldest son blowing a kiss while he was sitting down in the on the couch, I think, by the look of that background. I'm just having a play with, all I could think of to start the layout is to have some straight and some ripped edges bordering the bottom and a little bit bordering the top. So that's what I'm having to play with here. So I ripped that orange piece, ripping this blue one, and then I have that sticker with the aqua kind of colour and the pink crosses. And I really like that pink pattern that's on the branding strip there, but there's nothing, I don't have a big one of that, so it's not going to work. But that's okay. I'm going to add some of this black and white here, and now I cut it straight, and I went to get my paper distress tool, but I don't know where it is, so I need to find that a bit later. Instead, I've just used my fingers and ruffled it and cut it and scrunched it a little. And so this is what the bottom layer is going to look like to begin with. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of this branding strip to the top. So you can see now, just adding part of a border up the top. I'm not doing the full border. I didn't want to enclose it so much that the page was bordered the same up the top and the bottom. Also, that means there's less white space on the page if that's what's happening. And that works, to border top and bottom like that works sometimes, but I didn't want to do that today. So just adding some black and white, just adding some of the similar colours up the top, and even some of the same patterns, and just having a play. They do change a little bit once they're glued down, but the general idea of it is that. Now the next thing I'm going to do is work on layering behind my photo. Now I thought the title could be Kissey Kissey, so I've pulled them out on some plastic. They're those gold thickers that we got in the kit, and now I'm just having to play with layering. So I use that ephemera bag to start with, and then we have this grid piece of paper, and then we have this Project Life size card from the exclusive cut apart, and then this cute little doily. So that's the beginning of it. And then we have this acetate piece that came with the in the mixed media kit with the Vicky Bouton stickers, and I wondered if that worked, but I didn't like the introduction of the green and the red. Have that blue butterfly paper clip because I thought it'd be nice to have a little paper clip up there, and the blue goes with the tones, but I do swap that out for just a plain gold paper clip that we got in the collection. Not in the collection, in the kit. So now I'm just having a play. So that Go Your Own Way is a little card that I cut from the Project Life cut apart sheet that we got in the kit. And then I'm just having to play with the ephemera. So this is the ephemera that we got in the kits that I'm just pulling pieces out, seeing what works. Here's where I changed the paper clip. Just a plain one, just to add a little pop of interest, and actually becomes another embellishment cluster up there, which is really nice. Got these cool little puffy stickers from Heidi Swap that I'm adding down the top. No, that's the bottom. It's like getting your left and right wrong, isn't it? So that's down the bottom, but I do move it up to the top. So I'm thinking there's going to be a cluster down the bottom, cluster up the top, and then this is where I find this wood veneer that says Be Unique, and it's like a charm. It's got a hole in it, so I do add it to that paper clip area because I'm thinking that I'd like to hang it from there. I just found these little doodly hearts that I thought would be nice there. Then I decide, nope, that's not the way I need to build clusters out. That's going to be taking over too much white space. Oh, look at all those lovely embellishments all stored in that really lovely, really useful box. I'm checking out the chipboard, and at the moment I'm not sure what's going to work. I wondered if these would work, and they go perfectly just not nested in there. I've already glued down the branding strips down the bottom. No, I haven't, not yet, but I do that off camera. Add this puffy sticker up there instead. So you can see now my cluster down the bottom is coming together fairly well. And then I'm just working on that top cluster now. I've got a little yay in a circle format that came in the exclusive kit die cut pack. And then I have a puffy sticker and then that chipboard arrow. So I'm going to add some colour to my photo layers. And that blue paper, that white pattern is a bit like embossed. It is raised and it's nice to run your fingers over. So that was what I found when I was putting it together. So just going to glue all these together, I thought I'd show you the close-up of it rather than it looking like, you know, you're up in space and looking at an ant on the earth. So just cutting this down. So I'm not making everything straight. I actually liked having the photo on an angle to all the layers behind it. Just gives it a little bit of a different look. And because the photo is pretty cheeky and funny, it actually ties in really nicely. So this blue one's going to overlap 3 sides, not onto the right side, and I'm also ripping down the edge here. So that just adds in that extra pop of texture underneath that ephemera bag. And then I do actually fold up the ephemera bag a little bit more underneath the photo to make it all visible, because this layer is hidden a little bit under that ephemera bag. So just sticking it down with double-sided tape, and then I'm going to add this little one. So here I'm just folding it under. I'm just going to make sure it stays there a bit better so that you can see the plaid, but also that blue. Adding a couple of staples for some more texture, but also so that it can hold in that ephemera bag. And then I'm going to add some tulle in between the blue and the orange layer. And that's, even though that's like a dusty pink colour, it's not so bright and in your face that it looks out of place. It just gives you that little bit of added texture when you're looking closely at the photo. So just cutting, this is a bigger orange mat just to ground it all together. And just stapling that just because I know that the tulle is not going to stick down with glue. Now here is where I decide to add a little tag. So that tag came in the exclusive ephemera as well. And I'm just tying that onto the paper clip, and then I will glue it down to the photo. Both pieces, the tag and the wood veneer. But because I move it around so much finishing the process, I end up having to glue that wood veneer down 2 or 3 more times. It was ridiculous. But that's what happens when you are mucking around and turning your photo over and up and down and round and round. So there we go, back onto the full layout. And we're going to work on actually putting it all together so that it works. Now here's where I try and make my title work, I think. But then I realized if I glue down the layers, so I've got the bottom layer and the top layer glued down, but not the ephemera pieces yet, I would then be able to work out where I want to put my photo and then where I want to put the title. So just going to add a doily to this cluster up the top, and then I'm going to start building that out and finishing off the cluster down the bottom to make sure it's all where it needs to be and where I want it to be. So sometimes it's nice to add your embellishments, especially in a cluster form, above and below different layers. So I was trying to see if that arrow needed to be tucked in underneath that orange paper, but looks better on top. But then when I find my next piece, I do layer it underneath a few things and over top of other things, which means that it ties in all those layers to make it a cluster rather than a pile of 4 or 5 things just sat in an area next to each other. It means they're all combined and linked together to make it one big beautiful embellishment cluster. So just having a play, there's so much that we get in these kits, it's sometimes hard to find the right thing. So just going with this little, I think it's like a newspaper, it's got text all over it anyway. And we're going to tuck that in underneath the arrow and having it sitting on an angle rather than it having been straight. Adding in that circle cluster and then back in with that puffy sticker as well, that puffy tiny word. So that's pretty cute. So that's staying like that at the moment, and then I'm going to work on that bottom cluster. I knew these 3 pieces went together superbly, so sticking them down and then going to work on the rest. Whoa, I don't know why my camera is moving. That's crazy. Okay, so now I realize that I can't just have that photo floating in the middle. It actually would look better if I put it down here, joined to that cluster, and make it more heavy bottom heavy, and having that bit up the top to counteract all that white space and make your eye draw all around the layout. So gluing that down, and you can see like I've only stapled those bottom layers so that they come apart a little when I flip it over. So that's where that's going to sit. So you can see all these colours go to well together so nicely. One, because it's collection, but also two, because Steph has worked out all the extra bits and pieces that will match and go together. So here we go, gluing down again. I don't show you every time I glue it down because that would just be ridiculously mundane. But have stuck that one down, and then I'm going to stick this little postcard here as well on an angle. Just think that bulks out that little cluster there and ties in that bit of the corner of the photo layers. Deciding whether it needs a wood veneer heart up there. I was wondering whether it needed more wood veneer just because I have that Be Unique sitting on top of the photo. Now here I have cut out so much. I thought this title would go up here together, then I thought it would go with some black thickers, and I don't like it. And then I move it to the bottom of the photo, then I move it half to the top and half to the bottom, then I change it totally to XOXO, kiss hug, and put it down there in between the paper layers on the bottom underneath the photo. Adding in this little label, tab label, and just writing a little journaling on there. I don't know why I forgot that word. And then I'm just going to add some finishing touches. So making sure my layers are stuck where I need them to be. Sorry that's off the screen a tiny bit, but I'm just using some puffy stickers. So there's some hearts and some love stars. The puffy stickers are so sticky, so I just accidentally touched the photo there and then it left some residue. So that tiny word or phrase is up the top there. I'm going to add some in between there, because obviously those little puffy stickers are nice to use like enamel dots, so making sprinkles on the edges and inside your clusters is a really nice way to add those kind of things. Well, I feel anyway. So just add in a tiny word up there, another one, and then I'm just going to have a play with some of the hearts, and then I do get out my enamel dots from my collection. We did get some blue rhinestone ones, but they were too shiny for this layout. I do use them on different layouts, but it was just too shiny for this one. This is more of a muted tone rather than a bright. So adding a tiny word sticker up there. I found the those stickers on the Vicky Buden Mixed Media stickers. Just adding that on, and then just having a look, holding it up. So like I always do, and I'm sure most people do, just to get sure of a proper view rather than a view from sideways. Adding in one of those doodly orange hearts just to add something extra to that cluster. It was missing something, and that just finishes it off with some enamel dots from my stash. And then this is the layout. So I hope you've enjoyed today's process, and catch us next time. I'll see you next week, but make sure you check out tomorrow's video and the rest of the week to see all the other design team use of the January kits. Have a great day. Talk to you next time. Bye.